students, in the previous topic of animal tissues, we have studied about epithelial tissue, different types of epithelial tissues, their functions, etc. Now, in this part, we had to study the another type of animal tissue, that is called connective tissue. So, this is connective tissue. Connective tissue. Now, a student, we see, as the name suggests, connective means it connects the different parts of the body. It connects the different tissues and organs in different parts of the body in such that they can work in coordinated way. Now, connective tissue forms the structural framework of the body. That is, it helps in maintaining the definite shape, design of the body also. They bind up the different parts as well as give the shape. Now, in connective tissue, we have different types of connective tissue. Like the first of all, it is fibrous connective tissue. Fibrous connective tissue. Now, according to the name, it is fibrous. It is made up of long thread-like, fiber-like structures combined together. As a result, it will bind the two or more parts of the body. Like in fibrous connective tissue, the first of all, it is tendon. Now, we generally hear about the tendon and ligament-like tissues. Tendon, they join muscles to bone, means it joins the fleshy part of the body. That is, if there is a muscular structure that brings about movement, but in order to bring about movement, now the bone has to be pulled, so that must be connected, joined by certain structure. So one end of this tendon is joined with muscles and another end is joined with the another piece of bone. So it joins muscles to bone and help in movement of the body. Now, second part is the ligament. Ligament. Now, they join two bones and keep them fixed in a place. Like suppose, if even in our bone, suppose this is the upper end of the bone, suppose on this part there is another end of the bone, then here this type of fibrous connective tissue will be the ligament that will keep here together. Now, when sometimes due to overstrained, sometimes the ligaments get wear and tear, it is damaged, a sprain is caused. In that case, if it will be protected, it will be kept unmobilized for regular period, certain period, then it will be gradually healed. So it is the ligament. Now, the third one is fascia. Fascia. Now, fascia means it is the fibrous connective tissue that joins a skin to the underlying structures. So it is called fascia that keeps the layer of skin in contact with the underlying tissues. Now, the fourth one is adipose tissue. Adipose tissue. Now, it stores fat and provides insulating layer for heat. That is, prevents our heat to be lost out of the body. In the skin layer, below the dermis of skin, there is adipose tissue which forms insulating layer, as well as this tissue is also found around the visceral organs, where it stores fat, it provides cushion like structure. So these are the 4 types of fibrous connective tissue. Now the next type of connective tissue which we have to study is cartilage and bone. So the second type of connective tissue is cartilage. Cartilage. Now cartilage is it is non-porous. It is non-porous, transparent, elastic tissue. Elastic tissue, that is, it can be stretched. Now in this part you see that is it does not contain blood vessels and nerves. Means in this part, in cartilaginous part, blood vessel and nerves are not supplied. Now we see a student that in the cartilage and bones, that is connective tissue, in between the cells there is intercellular space filled with another component called matrix. So in cartilage it has thick matrix, that is the ground substance. Now further we see, students, that is, this is the important point, it is the collecting point, that is the cells in cartilage or cells of cartilage is called chondrocyte. Now further we see here that is in cartilage or the cartilage which is transparent elastic structure. Now it is found in ear pinna, that is, which is the part of the external ear. It is flexible. Now ear pinna, nose, that is this, the front tip of the nose is made up of cartilage. Now then rings of trachea. Now the trachea or the windpipe is supported by C-shaped cartilaginous ring from the front side. Now in bronchus, the branch of the trachea. Now then that is rib cage. Now there is at this place the false ribs are joined by cartilage to the sternum. Now then it is at the end of long bones, etc. So this is about the cartilage. It forms the part of the skeletal system also. Clear, student? Now the next part is the bone. Now we see here the third structure, that is the bone. The third structure, third type of connective tissue, that is the bone. Now we see here, bone is the hard structure. It forms the skeleton. It forms the skeleton of the body. Which gives gives definite shape, protects delicate organs, etc. Now, it protects delicate organs like our brain is protected within the cranium, brain box. The heart and lungs are protected by the rib cage. In this part, that is, here is the pelvic girdle, it protects the lower part of visceral organs. So, delicate organs are protected by the bone. Now, we see that is, it is hard, porous. Unlike cartilage, it is porous tissue, hard tissue, and richly supplied with blood vessels, and nerves. In long bones, in the inner part, central part, there is a hollow cavity in which the blood vessels, nerves, and the other tissues like collagen fibers and others are present, which is known as bone marrow. Now we see, students, that is in this part, that is in the bone part. Here we see that is the cells forming bone is called osteoblast. Now it is not the cells in the bone, but it is the bone forming cell. And then we see here that is the cells in the bone is called osteocyte. So we should remember here. Now in this part, the cellular component gives that is flexibility, rigidity to the bone, but the mineral salts provide hardness to the bone. So the mineral salts, mainly of calcium and phosphate, that is calcium phosphate, we can say mainly calcium and phosphate provides hardness. So we see here about the bone, that is its cells, the structures, and so on. Now if we will study the simplified diagram of the bone tissue, then you see here in the center, this is the structure, and then around it, in the form of circular ring-like structures, Now suppose again here is another structure. So again we have ring-like structures here. And in this part you see there are the structures like this in every part. In this part you see that is all around, this is the similar structure, and so on. There will be the similar structure all around. all around. So this structure is called Haversian canal. Haversian canal. Now this ring-like structure is called lamellae, and these cells, there will be the matrix, and here is the bone cells, that is osteocytes. If we will study the simple bone cell, then you will study here, there is the projections, cytoplasmic projections, there may be here like this, cytoplasmic projections. So this will be the bone cell. This is the normal general structure of a bone, in which there is the concentric ring-like structures called concentric lamellae. Now the ground substance is called matrix, and here the single cells are called bone cells. This single cell is here shown in magnified way. In this way there will be the composed of that is the compact structure of the bone. Clear, student? Now the next topic is the fluid connective tissue. The fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue. Now, as the name suggests, fluid means that flows, that will not be static, that will not be constant, but it will keep on flowing, keep on moving throughout the body. And these are blood and lymph. Blood and lymph. These are called fluid connective tissue. Now here we have to study the blood. Blood. Now it is red colored in mammals. It is red colored fluid flowing in blood vessels. Blood vessels, that is arteries and veins and capillaries, and the heart. Now it is red colored. Now in blood there are two components, that is the parts is the blood plasma, that is the watery fluid which forms 55 to 60% of blood is the blood plasma. And in blood plasma it contains all the substances dissolved in it. Means the blood plasma contains 90 to 92% water and 7 to 8% other dissolved substances. That may be nutrient, metabolic wastes, hormones, and other substances. Clear, student? Now, the plasma, after plasma, it is the blood corpuscles. That is the blood corpuscles, that is first RBC. It is red blood corpuscles. Sometimes we also say red blood cells, but actually it is red blood corpuscles. Now it is biconcave cell, and it is meant for, that is biconcave cell meant for transport of respiratory gases, mainly oxygen. We write here mainly oxygen. The reason is that out of the total oxygen carried from lungs to the tissues, most of it is carried by RBC. Whereas when CO2 has to be returned back from tissues to lungs for expiration, then only little of it is transported by RBC and rest of it is carried by blood plasma in different forms. Now, RBC contains iron containing protein hemoglobin, and actually this is also called respiratory pigment. So if we say that what is the function of RBC, then we say that it is for transport of respiratory gas, mainly oxygen. Now, second part is its WBC, that is white blood corpuscles, also known as leukocyte. RBC is known as erythrocyte. And this is leukocyte. Now, WBC is irregular amoeboid in shape. And due to amoeboid shape, by producing pseudopodia, it squeeze out. Suppose here is the blood capillary, then it squeeze out into the tissue spaces where it kills the germs by engulfing them, phagocytosis, or by producing antibody against it. So WBC, irregular amoeboid in shape, and it provides immunity. By killing germs. Now, the germs are killed in two ways. One, by engulfing the germs and destroying them, or second, it produces a chemical protein called antibody that fight against the germs and destroy them, change their chemical nature. So, WBC prevents us from diseases. That is, it provides immunity. Clear, student? Now, the third cellular component, this is the cellular component that is called platelets. Platelets in the blood prevents excessive loss of blood by helping in blood clotting. And prevents its excessive loss from the prevents excessive loss of blood from the body, as well as by forming clot at the site of injury. It also prevents entry of germs into the body. That is, it is also protective in nature. Now, so this is about the blood. The second type of fluid connective tissue is the lymph. Second type of fluid connective tissue is the lymph. Now, the blood plasma squeezing out through the capillary surrounds the tissue, that is called tissue fluid. And when the tissue fluid enters into the another vessel, that is lymph vessel, then it is termed as lymph. So the composition of lymph is similar to that of the blood plasma. So we say here that blood plasma squeezing out through blood capillary and surrounding the cells is called tissue fluid. But this blood plasma cannot enter back into the blood capillary. So it is drained away by another vessel. That is, when tissue fluid enters into the lymph vessel, then it is called lymph. So we can directly say that the tissue fluid in the lymph vessel is now known as lymph. So its composition is similar to blood plasma, but it also contains WBC, which has been squeezed out through the wall of blood capillary. Now, lymph, that is, transports nutrition to those parts where blood does not reach. Next, drains away tissue fluid and returns it back to the blood circulation, joining into the vena cava, that is before entering into the heart, as well as it also helps in immunity by removing and filtering the tissue fluid from the germs. So students, since blood and lymph is flowing throughout the body and connecting the different organs inside it, hence it is called fluid connective tissue. So this is all about the connective tissue, students. Now in the next part we will study about muscular tissue and the nervous tissue. Okay students, thank you.